Hey, yo, everybody, what's going on? So I can't sleep, so I thought I'd stream for a minute until conference comes on and my husband tells me conference on. We'll go in there. I had to get out of my bedroom for a minute because worse than it's like, you know what's worse than a bad dream? Let's see, hold on. Gonna give 13th hour the invite guest, the linky link. So we want 13th hour to come up. Oh gosh. Hmm. It's sent. I'm watching for you to come up. Let's see. I'm so tired, but so don't mind me if I yawn every few minutes. I've been up since 1 in the morning. So that's, man. There we go. There's 13th hour.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. Been a while. I'm glad you're
Look
up.
at us. Me
I was
too.
hoping. I haven't. I've been up since 1 a.m. I haven't been able to sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
I
It's
had
just with
I
my
had a
husband
weird dream
working
last.
nights.
Huh?
Ooh,
Okay,
tell
yeah.
me.
Oh no,
Tell
you
me.
said your
Tell me about your
husband's
dream.
working right? Okay. No, like I
He works
had the
nights.
weirdest dream last night. Okay. So it's a rare phenomenon because okay, so you have five senses, right?
Yes.
And when you dream, you see stuff, you feel stuff, you hear stuff. But have
Mm-hmm.
you ever noticed you never smell in your dream? Smell doesn't come.
Well, okay. Well, there's an issue that I have. I have two
Okay.
neurodivergences. So we'll go over those in a minute.
Okay. So, well, a typical standard person, only 1% of people actually smell something during a dream. And usually, 99% of the time, it's a good smell. It's like flowers or tea or something good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last night this is so worse than I'd rather have a nightmare because I can get back to sleep after a nightmare. But I can still smell it
Okay.
several
So,
hours later. But oh, 13 dropped. Where'd you go? Let me see if she comes back up. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There we go. Yay. Okay, you're back. There we go.
sorry it dropped me.
No prob. I'm like, no. But
Okay.
yeah.
So
So,
what I was saying was my neurodivergences. I have
okay.
aphantasia. Okay, and the best way to explain aphantasia is close your eyes.
Okay.
Close your eyes.
Okay.
All right, your eyes closed?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want you to picture an apple
An apple. Okay.
in your head. Tell me everything about that apple.
Okay. Well, it's rounded and red and it's got a stem and a leaf. And
Hmm. Okay.
I
Well,
don't
already
know.
we're further. Okay, you can open your eyes. Okay, you can open your eyes.
Okay.
Now, if I did the
Okay.
same thing, I don't see anything. I have no
Yeah.
mind's eye. I cannot
I
picture
don't
things in my
really
head. I
have that
have
either.
aphantasia.
Like I
No,
don't
I
see
like
it,
zero. It's
but
black. Mm-mm,
okay.
mm.
No, it's not
And
black. Like I can see like light and stuff, but like I know what an apple looks like. So I'm sitting here going, well, I'm trying to picture it going, well, I know an apple is round and
right,
red and like
right.
I
And
can
see that
I
exactly,
can
exactly. but
Okay.
I can't picture that mentally. And then with that comes something that I have it's called synesthesia. And as a
Okay.
synesthete, some there's a blanket for synesthesia, and synesthesia can be anything. Mine, I taste music.
You taste music. Oh,
Yeah, my
interesting.
husband can see sound.
Oh,
He has
so you
synesthesia.
see
Yeah, and
sound
he
and
can see
and
sound,
he.
and I can
That's
taste music.
interesting. He's like
Yeah,
music's coming
and
at you. You see it. He's like boom. Just kidding. Can he see you eating or tasting it? Then, like, if oh, he keeps dropping her. But hey, man. Yeah. Retreat hates me. But all I have is retreat because the other stream one, it costs. But I kind of like the way this one runs. I like the way Restream kind of runs. Actually, I don't know why it hates you. It hates my well. So does the other one, Streamyards. It hates my microphone too. For some reason, my microphone goes out. I use Android. Do you use Apple? I know. I use I'm on my computer. I'm on a computer. So I'm on Google Chrome. I use a computer to run my streams. I never use my phone or a tablet or anything. I always use my computer. Do 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 do. Oh. Can you come back up or? Okay, it's not that okay. Let me go to the computer. Okay. Yeah, my computer runs it fine, but like yeah, to run streams, I wouldn't dare run a stream on phone or anything else besides a computer because yeah, like I need the power of the laptop. I need that power is supplying. Because I got to run cameras, microphones, games sometimes. And now guests. So yeah. Boom boom. My get one play Uno. Just kidding. Ah. Yeah, like my stomach, like the pit of my stomach is I need to eat something because my stomach's empty and when you could smell something that's horrifying. Yeah, so now I know a lot about dreaming and smell. Because when you dream, because most people just have a normal sense of smell, some people have a stronger sense of smell. Those ones are the ones that are more likely to smell when they dream. And but most people don't ever have a dream where they smell. It is rare. Well, it took me this long to have one, so I'd rather have a nightmare though. I can't get back to sleep. I can still smell it. It smells yucky, nasty. And so I've been up since 1 in the morning because of the stupid smell. It's just killing me. So yeah, you guys get a small lesson smell this morning because I read up on it at 1 in the morning. A lesson on it's something about your olfactory senses. It's called there is actually a little like it's called olfactory hallucinations. It's a phenomenon where one perceives a smell that is not actually present. And how rare is smell in your dreams? Because a study of 3,372 dream reports, 1%, only like somewhere between like 27 and 34 people out of over 3,000 people, only about 30-ish people smelled while they were dreaming. There we go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. There you go. Yeah, so basically, it's a rare phenomenon because it's your weakest sense. Out of all five of your senses, it's your weakest one. And so I had this crazy dream. I don't know where I was in some kind of like future. I kept ending up in some kind of like futuristic building. And there was this one area of the building where like it was like futuristic where like there was like AI or something you could manifest things.
Uh-huh.
And I kept manifesting this there was this smell in this part of the building. And I kept trying to avoid this part of the building because there was this smell and people were getting mad at me because I kept ending up in this part of the building and I kept trying to get out of it because the smell was killing me and I kept in my dream I kept trying not to throw up. And to not throw up, I would like spit up a little bit and just, I was trying not, I woke up and I had spit up all over me. And I had this nasty smell and
Yeah.
I was just a mess.
Oh, hey, there's something.
Yeah, apparently it was one of those dreams that are so strong you're actually doing it in real life too. Like when you wake up and you're screaming in real
Mm-hmm.
life, you're screaming in your dreams. It was kind of like that, but I woke up and I'm throwing up in my real life. I'm trying not to throw up. It was crazy. Oh man, I'm like, and then I can't get rid of the smell. I can even still kind of smell it in here. Like my nose won't get rid of this smell. It's like the
That's
memory of
weird.
it, the memory of the dream and the memory of the smell keeps frickin' coming to me. And I'm like, I didn't want to go to sleep. So I decided to, because I was awake last night, I decided to watch that Netflix show about the Menendez brothers. Because somebody on YouTube was complaining about the Menendez brothers Netflix show. The one called Monster. Well, okay, so I guess this is season 2. So Monster season 1 was Dahmer, which I only got halfway through Dahmer because Dahmer is hard to get through. Like, it's one thing to talk about crime, true crime, and it's another thing to sit there and watch it. I watched five episodes of the Menendez brothers. Wait, yeah, and there's 9. I got through half of them, and my husband woke up and made me shut the show off because when you get to episode 5, you finally get to the part of the crime where Jose Menendez. They're talking
I
about
have Netflix.
huh?
I don't have Netflix.
Well, when you get to episode 4 and 5, this is the hard part of the show. You get to the episodes where the brothers are describing to their lawyers all the essay that happened to them since they were little kids. Like Eric is like, they're like, when did it start, Eric? And Eric is like, I don't know. It's like he's like, I can't remember a starting time because like it's always been there. My dad and my brother's always been doing this to me. So like there's no like it's like you start holding memories around 5 years old. So basically Eric's been being essayed since before he can even hold a first memory. So there was no like first time. It was like always been there. And as they're describing all this abuse, my husband's like, "Hey, just turn it off." He's like, he's like, do you have to watch this? He's like, "Do you have to?" And I'm like, "Well, I do true crime. This is part of it, is getting through this part of the case."
I put earbuds in because my husband is the same way. He can't handle listening to it, especially in his sleep. It gives him nightmares. And so what I do is I just put in earbuds, and he never hears what I'm listening to, ever.
The only thing is we're signed into my husband's Netflix, and I told him, I said, I have nowhere else to watch Netflix except for on my TV, which is in my bedroom. And he's like, I will sign into it on anything you want. Well, okay, here's the problem. So Thursday night, so I got a phone call the other day, or the police came to my door the other day, because they told me my son has a car that was stuck on Skyline Drive. And we looked up Skyline Drive, and that's like 2 hours away down in Ephraim. And so I called my son and I said, "Are you okay? Are you stranded? Are you, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, the police just came to our door and said, your car is abandoned." And so it turns out he sold the car 3 years ago. And the person he sold it to, they never put the car in their name. They left the title in my son's name.
Oh no.
This is 3 years later. The cops are saying, "Well, it's your car." And so my son's like, "Okay, I guess I'll go to Ephraim and get it." So him and his girlfriend, who I've never met, drive to Ephraim, and they call me and they say, "Mom, can I store the car at your house for a few days?" He says the car is stripped a little bit. They got to get some parts for it, and he wants to know if he can store the car at our house, because our house is technically closer to Ephraim, I guess. Because we're like an hour and a half, couple hours away from Ephraim, where he's 3 hours or more out from Ephraim.
I'm going to share our stream on Discord real quick.
No problem.
Okay.
So Thursday night, there's a knock on the door. My son's here. And I had my earbuds in. And I pull my earbuds out and I put them in my hand. And I go outside to greet my son. And I asked him, I sat on the porch and I was looking at him. I said, is that your girlfriend in the car? said, do I get to meet her? And he said, yeah. So we had some camping chairs on the porch. So we all go sit on the camping chairs on the porch. And then I'm talking to him for a little while, and all of a sudden it gets cold. Like, cold hits. So I was like, I need to go in and grab a sweater real quick. I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to go grab a sweater real quick. And so I go inside, I grab my sweater, I come outside, I'm sitting in my chair, and I look down on the ground. Hey, Chewies.
Hey, Chewie.
I look down on the ground, and there's one of my earbuds, one. I forgot that when my son arrived, I had him in my hand, and I set him in my lap. And so when I got up to go get my sweater, I forgot my earbuds were in my lap, and they went flying off somewhere. So I have one earbud right now. I can't find the second one. And I don't know how to get on my phone and beep those suckers. Because you're supposed to be able to beep them. Because it might be lost somewhere in the bushes. I'm trying to find the dang thing. I can't find my earbud. I lost him.
That's no fun.
Yeah, so it's like I can't have him sign into my phone, and I watch it on my phone. I skipped half of one episode for him, but then I skipped half of episode 4 for him, but then I get into episode 5, and it's just, and he's just finally like, just shut it off, Rose. He's like, just shut it off. He's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, well, this is part of true crime. This is part of, being in this world. I have my degree in criminal justice. This is part of being in the criminal justice. Is you gotta do. It's not pretty. It's not all pretty. Love your socks. Your striped socks.
Oh, my pantyhose. Gay pantyhose.
It's Halloween time. This is the time to buy some like that. I need to buy pantyhose like that. With like some little shorts. If I buy pantyhose and you buy little black shorts that you wear with them.
Yeah, it's all long sleeve, and like that. My husband bought it for me. It's really cute. I've had it for a couple of years.
Yeah,
see, it's
time to buy those. It's time to buy those
pantyhose
and socks because it's Halloween time. Maybe I'll get my husband to buy me a pair, a couple of pairs, so I can wear. I'll wear them all year long. All year long.
It goes down to my knees.
I like them. I'll wear them all year long.
Yeah, the top goes down to my knees, and it's long sleeve too. Hey, W. How are you doing, hon?
You?
W's in.
Yep. Hey, W.
I can see chat with this. I like this better than StreamYard. I can see the chat.
Yeah, I like, yeah, it's so much better than StreamYards because I like that I can put the chat. I couldn't figure out on my other OBSs how to get the chat integrated into the stream because it's really important when you're running a stream like we do, where not only do we talk about a subject, but we answer stuff to the people that are here watching us, and people need to see the chat on replay. You're like, I can chat too. So we can either talk about Nick first, or we could talk about the Menendez brothers first. But I got
this is your thing. I'm just co-host, baby. Let's go.
So, okay, this might piss people off because I was just, this is what made me want to come stream real quick.
No, we don't care. We don't care who gets mad. This is your stream.
I know.
Okay, so you pay for it. Let's go.
I was stressed about this. Oh, yeah, because W is in the hurricane area.
W, are you okay, honey? Are you safe? I want to check on her first.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
This is far more important.
I knew that W the other day told me about that they were in the hurricane area. I didn't know where they lived, but they were saying something about them being in hurricane area. I know Florida is pretty much the whole top. is pretty gone. Because I asked my husband about that the other day. I said, if South Carolina and everything is got
North
hit
Carolina.
that,
Oh gosh.
or North
North Carolina.
Carolina got hit that bad, I'm like, Florida must have got it bad because Florida
Is
comes before all those states that got hit. I'm like, all of Florida must be gone. And my husband said, no, only half of Florida.
All right, you stay safe, W. All right.
Yeah, you stay very
Please.
safe.
If they say leave, leave. Evacuate.
Yeah.
Don't be dumb. Please.
Yeah,
You can't take
don't
Mother Nature. Can't take Mother Nature.
Northeast Florida. Okay, so northeast, close to like Georgia or stuff. You're on the like barrel part of the little pew pew part of, because Florida looks like a pew pew, kind of pew pew. So you're on the barrel part.
We call
When I was a little girl,
handle in Oklahoma. They call ours a panhandle because we look like a pan.
yeah. When I both when I was a little girl and I would be at my grandma's house, she always had a puzzle of the United States. Oklahoma and Florida, I used both of them as pew pews because they both have the. It was like two little states that are
handle. Yeah, it got a handle.
Pew pew pew. Yeah, because they both have a way to grip them, and then they have this spout that sticks out. So both of you guys live in the pew pew states because I used to.
Yes. Hey, there is a spot in Texas that's called a panhandle as well. So hey, all the gun states, let's go. We all have a trigger.
When I baptized my kids last week, one of the missionaries was leaving, and I asked him. I said, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Texas." And I said, "That's where I'm going when the Civil War goes down in the United States. I'm going to Texas, where everybody has guns, and they will fight for the United States
too, and we will fight for the states too. But you have to remember, what we have here that they don't have a lot of in Texas is reservations.
Oh, yeah, those Indians.
You want to be in Oklahoma. You want to be in Oklahoma, not Texas. No, when it goes down, you want to be in Oklahoma.
Well, I just know that, you want to be around Oklahoma, Texas, and all that. Because if any states are patriotic enough to fight for the United States,
blue or red, it doesn't matter which side.
Yeah,
we will fight.
It's going to be those states that fight for our democracy to stay a democracy and everything. It's going to be those states.
Who the person is that's standing there, you mess with our democracy, we're going to take you down.
One of the worst states you want to be in is like California, where everybody in Hollywood is just out of their freaking minds.
Oh, I need to grab something. I'll be back, baby. Go ahead and start your diatribe there, baby.
Okay.
In a positive way, not a bad diatribe.
We were talking a minute, W, about I've been up since 1 a.m. because for the first time last night I had a dream where I could smell in the dream. Turns out out of all 5 of your senses, smell is the weakest. And so that's why when you dream, you see stuff, you touch stuff, you hear stuff, but you never smell. So I had this crazy dream for the first time last night where not only was there a smell in my dream, it was a bad smell. It was a bad, bad smell. Idaho has a panhandle. I see Idaho. I mean, Idaho does get kind of skinny at the top. Yeah, it kind of does. Chewy says, yeah. So yeah, only 1% of people, W, have the dreams with smell. And now I'm part of that 1%. I wish it was a good smell. I can't get rid of this bad smell out of my nose.
Yeah, it's like that one. It's just like the sensory. It's
Tell
just
me.
like the sensory one that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's, tasting music. It's the same thing. It's a neurodivergence that you have, and it's called synesthesia. I'm
Interesting.
sorry about the wreck in the back of my room. This used to be my mom's room, and she passed away in March, and I just
Oh,
can't.
yeah. No, see that.
I can't
That's
bring
why.
myself to change things yet.
Yeah, that's why, I got. This is what happens though when people pass on and your stuff is left with them. Because that's how I lost my kids, because I thought that TCFS was going to be nice and understand the fact that I was cleaning out this room from my dad who had passed away. I needed this room back so I can, well, homeschool my kids, which they didn't like.
I homeschooled mine
So,
because
so Friday night.
we were pagan, and they were trying to shove Christianity down my kids' throats. And I said, no, if they want to choose religion, they'll choose the one they want.
Hey,
So,
beautiful Sherlock. And we say
hey,
hi to
Sherlock.
Sherlock. Hi, Sherlock.
Come
You're
here,
so
baby.
beautiful. I love his
Come here,
coloring.
Benny.
I love that
Benny.
grayish turquoise that he is. He's so
Ben,
beautiful.
he's special bred to be that color. They are
So
not born
nice.
this color.
Because
Yeah,
yeah,
this is
he's got
special
that
bred.
gray. He's got that
Benny.
beautiful grayish turquoise that is so
Yeah, he's
beautiful.
not green. Yeah, he's not. He's not a green. They come in. They're special bred to be this color, uh, yellow, and white, which is albino.
Maybe I should get
He's
my kids a
grumpy.
bird. Birds are
Well,
kind of
let me explain something. Do you see how rough he looks right now? Do you see how rough this dude looks?
He's so
Okay,
cute. Hey,
he
cutie.
is cute, but we are plucking, we are grumpy,
Oh,
and we're almost 6 years old.
oh.
And let me explain something the hard way.
Your pug.
People with anxiety shouldn't have birds. It's not
Okay.
right. It's
Well,
not right. It gives them
mom,
anxiety. It makes them anxious.
yeah, my mom wanted birds really bad when I was growing
Yeah.
up, and my dad finally got her two cockatiels. Now,
Mm-hmm.
cockatiels do learn how to talk. And I sat there and I taught the bird how to say pretty bird because I would go, I don't know if you can hear it, it's hard to whistle it.
Yeah.
I would whistle pretty bird, and I
Yeah.
taught it to say pretty bird, and it does, the cockatiels do copy a little bit of what you say. Now, here's the problem. My mom ended up hating the birds because my mom constantly yells at my dad. So that female bird constantly plucked the feathers off the back of the male's head and yelled at the male all day long. My mom would get mad, and my mom would be like, "Why is that bird always
It's
squawking?"
copying you.
Yeah,
She's
my mom didn't get it. My mom didn't get it. It's like, Mom, you yell all day long. And so the female bird has learned to yell at that male bird finally one day just dropped dead while she was just plucking and yelling at it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It
Stress.
finally had a heart attack and died.
Yep, yeah, they do. Very, very, very easily. Very easily.
So I was laying there watching YouTube again, and there was this one whatever YouTube video I was watching. It's once again they're talking about, did Nick Godejohn get manipulated? Did he get a fair trial? Well, my last stream, I don't know if you watched it, but I was explaining the point of, in the United States, yes, this is kind of unfair a little bit, but when you get charged with the crime, the detective at the police department, all they care about is the prosecution side, okay? They don't care about your side, okay? You have to care about your side. When you are given your lawyer, you're the detective, okay? You bring your lawyer all the evidence. So you get, I want a bonded pair of African gray parrots. I'll have to look that up.
They eat a 2x4 a piece for breakfast.
What?
That's how destructive they are. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. They chew up everything wooden. Everything wooden.
So
They
they're
destroy it.
worse than a termite, huh? So don't live in one of those 80s style houses that have wood panels.
But they're capable of 700 plus words and understanding cognitive speech. Like if it says, "Hey, come here," it means it wants you to come to it, and it knows that. They're very, very intelligent, and I would never. Oh gosh, they make like that sound is nothing. The sound, the high pitched metallic sounds that an African gray can make will drive you absolutely batshit crazy. I had one named Max for 5 years, and he died of a heart attack in his cage. Somebody gave him to me. He was a rescue, but he was a nightmare. He was a nightmare. I will never have another African gray. It's Quakers all the way because they're small. They live about 35 years, and they're not as messy and they're not as loud.
Not many people. When my first husband always wanted to own a macaw, like not many people own birds because A, they're expensive, and B, they do live like some of them can live 70, 80 years. They're going to live longer than you.
Macaws do.
That's a bird you're going to pass down to your children,
your grandchildren.
When I was growing up, there was this girl I was friends with who was adopted by these two lesbians. These two lesbians adopted a bunch of kids that had physical disabilities and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it was a home full. When you walked into the home, like there was kids in wheelchairs and all kinds of stuff, and kids with just physical disabilities all over this house. And they had this giant bird that it was a parrot because it was the rainbow color. It was giant. They had this giant bird. That was the first time I ever seen anybody own a bird. Was my friend's house.
I love them. I'm a bird person. Birds and lizards. Anything with scales and feathers. That's really my thing. Scales and feathers.
My kids
like tarantulas too.
My kids like it that my mom has a bird right now. Her husband has a bird. I don't know what kind of bird. And then he's also got a cuckoo clock. So they got a bird in a cage, and every hour they got a cuckoo clock that comes out and goes.
I told my husband, I need a cuckoo clock. I just need one. Just one. And he's looking for one. They're just so expensive.
Yeah, we gotta send. We gotta get you on. Okay, we'll start a fund.
No, don't do that. That's not okay. That's not acceptable. We don't do that.
No, I know. I'm just teasing. No, but anyway, so I was watching, and they were talking. They were showing clips of Nick talking. And there's two things that Nick said that bothers me, that makes me think he was not manipulated. And okay, let me also finish my tiny little rant. You only get as fair of a trial as you put into it. Stephanie was too busy, Nick's mom Stephanie was too busy blaming herself and getting high.
Oh, what was me?
Her son in his court case. Because here's the problem. When you get arrested, if you can't get out on bond, you have to really rely on your family and friends on the outside to do your footwork for you. You tell them where the evidence is and they need to go get it. Because if you are not out, trust me, like when I went to trial 7 years ago, I pushed my lawyer for a lot of it. And like as we were sitting there at the table and they were describing things that went on, I would write down on a piece of paper, hey, this, what they just said, I'd be like, this proves that I didn't do the crime by this, and I would slide it to my lawyer who didn't think of it. But it was one of the things that helped me win my case because I was watching what was going on before the trial. I gave him a lot of evidence, and then as the trial was going on, I paid attention And I said, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was in evidence, but that actually proves, I can't believe they put that in evidence because it proves my innocence. And then I was like, it's like, because tend to be mean and aggressive. Interesting.
Oh
So
my gosh, yes.
Oh, they do? So, okay, I won't get him a cough. Okay, no
Very
cough.
destructive. Very destructive. They destroy everything.
Okay.
They are all parrots, all big parrots, all of them. They're all high maintenance. All birds, high maintenance. Remember that.
Okay.
They require so much time and attention.
Well, Landrix is struggling. He got a bird. His friend gave him a bird for a wedding gift, and that thing squawks until Landrix is in the same room with it. The bird only likes Landrix.
Yep.
His wife and his kid and everything, they'll walk in the room and the bird will still squawk and squawk. So he streams only once a week it's my Thursday, but it's his Friday because he's in Australia. And every time he tries to stream, this bird's just squawking in the background unless he pulls the cage next to him.
That doesn't surprise me. Sherlock's not a big squawker, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Look at you.
Don't make me a liar.
Don't you dare. Sherlock, don't do that.
Don't you make me a liar.
Okay, Debbie, is this for your kid or for something else? Like, what do you mean was what for your kid? I don't know.
I'm confused too.
Yeah, I'm like, what was I saying? Was I saying that? Because it's talking about Landrix and his bird, and then, but like, okay, so like, basically, you literally, the lawyers and stuff, you get handed a lawyer, and they know the law, and they know how to handle a courtroom, because courtrooms are they are a very well designed game, and they know how to help you navigate legal language and everything. So when the judge hands down whatever, they know how to help you interpret it. And that's why it's good to have a lawyer, because they help interpret what the judge is saying, the law, everything like that. You're trying. Okay, so my in-laws, I got back in 2017, April of 2017. I got I got into it with my in-laws. We had been fighting for 14 years, and I only showed up at my in-laws' house just to give them a picture of my daughter. I had to go pick up my son, who was like 4 blocks away. And so I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I grabbed the picture of my daughter, and I told my husband I'll be back in a minute. I got to go get Parker. And so I drove down. I grabbed Parker. I pulled up at my in-laws' house. I left the keys in the ignition. I left my purse in the car. I left my phone in the car. I left everything in the dang car, because all I grabbed was the stupid picture to go give that to my in-laws. That's all I was doing. And my mother-in-law said, no, Rose, I really need to talk to you. I really need you to come in. Because I was like pointing to the car, and I was kind of like speechless. I should have spoke up, because I was like trying to tell her Parker's in the car, and I need to take Parker home. And I thought, well, you know what? Fine, I'll go talk to her for a minute. But if I'm in there too long, Parker will knock on the door, right? And be like, Mom, you're in there too long. We need to go home, right? So if I'm in there too long, no, I was in there too long, and Parker called Dawn, and Dawn's like, oh, I didn't know, Mom was stopping by my parents' house, and he told Parker, just walk home.
Oh, so no.
Parker just got out of the car and walked home.
What a nightmare. So that makes you look bad.
Yeah, instead of knocking on the door.
It's a misunderstanding. How old is he?
He was 17, 18 at the time.
Wait, he was 17 or 18 years old?
No, he was 18 at the time, because Colin was 1 year old. I know that justice is not.
No, the one that got left in the car.
He was 18. Yeah.
He was 18. Then why are you? Why is anybody wagging a finger at you? He's an adult. He knows when to get out of the car.
The thing is my
wait.
Well, I don't know if you understand what's happening. So
No,
I wasn't
it's
supposed to
not.
go in my in-laws' house. I was just supposed to hand my mother-in-law a picture, get back in the car, and drive Parker home. Because Parker
Okay.
had a long day. He was tired. He didn't want to walk home. So he called me and said, "Hey, Mom, come get me." And I thought, okay, I had been for the last 2 weeks telling myself, you need to take this picture to your mother-in-law, Rose. Because the school pictures had just come in. And I wanted to give her a picture of Aurora, an updated picture of Aurora. So I go to her door and I hand her the picture and she's like, "Rose, come in and talk to me." And I gestured no, and I was kind of pointing at the car like I was like, but I didn't literally say the words, "Parker's in the car, I need to drive him home."
Gotcha.
I was gesturing at the car and she opened the door all the way. And she said, "No, Rose, really, I need to talk to you." Now, she works at my son Wesley's school. And so I think this is why she needed to talk to me, because I get to pick his teacher for the next year. And there was this teacher she hated, and she wanted me to know it. And she wanted me to put my son in a different class.
I get that.
And our conversation turned from talking about Wesley and his school to talking about why. So, Dawn's family has Sunday dinners every other Sunday as a family. They've been doing it since, well, not since Dawn turned 18, because Dawn is the oldest of the 9. They've been doing it since Crystal turned 18 and got married. And so she comes home on Sunday nights and has family dinner. Now, by the time I come into the family, Zach is getting married and Dawn is getting married. So now there's 3 of us that are getting married. And then there's so Sunday dinners are starting to get organized to have the oldest kids that are left out of the house come home. And so Dawn's sister Crystal, the second oldest, she's the favorite. She's a total B. She hates me, and she's the reason I'm not allowed at Sunday dinners, because she says no. And I don't think that's fair. I think if Crystal has a problem with me being at Sunday dinners, well, she can stick it or leave. I don't give a but me and Dawn should not be uninvited because she hates us.
No.
So
Should she keep her personal views and opinions to herself when it comes to family get-togethers?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't.
Well,
And
she
so
should.
I'm really upset because, like, by this time, I got Colin. They've never met Colin at this point. Well, they've met him like maybe twice. Like, they don't know Colin and stuff because we're not invited to family things. And as long as Crystal hates us, the rest of the kids won't talk to us. Like, she literally runs the show, and it pisses me off. And Zach's wife is a drama queen. She's one of those stay-at-home moms that needs to get a life because she spends her whole day on Facebook looking to pick fights. And I'm usually her favorite to pick a fight with. Literally the second I post something, she knows it. And she's on top of it. So anyways, a fight ensued an argument ensued between me and my mother-in-law, and she told me that I can't remember her exact words anymore. I haven't talked about this in years, and so now my memory is because I used to remember what she said to me, but she told me, she said, so when she was talking about the teacher she didn't like, she was telling me why she didn't like the teacher. Well, she started using the same wording towards me. She was telling me, Rose, if you're going to be contentious or whatever and blah, blah, blah.
She was starting to project.
Yeah, she was starting to project the same hate she has on that teacher onto me.
Onto you.
And
Mm-hmm.
she says,
And you
Rose,
noticed.
she says, Rose, if you're going to be like this, you need to leave. And I said, okay. I said, how am I being like this? I said, tell me. So I don't. Because in my mind, I'm going, Don doesn't know I'm here talking to his mother. And if I screw shit up, I got to go home and tell Don. And he's going to be so mad if I screw shit up because he doesn't even know I'm here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be talking to my mother-in-law without my husband next to me. I don't even have my phone to text or call Dawn and say your mother's going crazy. Talk to her. I don't have my phone. It's in the car. Because remember, I wasn't supposed to be in here. I left everything in the car.
Right.
And so at this point, I don't want to leave because if I leave at this point, things are. So we actually get to. She does this 3 times to me. By the 4th time, she's like, Rose, I'm done with you. She says, you need to leave. Now, I didn't know at this point, when you're at somebody's house, it doesn't matter who invited you in, whether my mother-in-law coerced me to come in. I didn't want to come in, but she coerced me to. Or it doesn't matter if I came over and asked to come. It doesn't matter. But at this point, when she says, Rose, you need to leave, I am technically now breaking the law. It is called trespassing if you do not walk out that door the second somebody asks you to leave.
Correct.
You're breaking the law. I did not know this. Mm-hmm. So I sat there in despair. And she gets up and opens the door, and she's like, and I'm sitting there going,
oops, yeah. What have I done now?
The second I walk out that door, it's over. I just screwed shit up. And because I stayed sitting on the couch, she decided to go upstairs and get her husband, who is a very, very big man. Very big man, like a 300-pound guy. He's a very, very big man. He's around probably 5'10" and about 300 pounds, really big guy. So he comes. I get up off the couch and I move to the door, but I don't walk out the door. And he comes down the stairs and sits on the stairs right in front of me. So you got to figure the mindset I'm in. Okay, so a week prior to this, Dawn was talking to somebody about growing up in his family. And he was telling somebody how his dad sometimes would hit him with a 2x4. And I was like mind blown. I was like, he hit a kid with a 2x4. So his dad looks me straight in the eye and says, my wife has asked you to leave, so you need to go. And I took like 2 steps towards him and looked him straight in the face and said, what are you gonna do? Beat me with a board like you did your son? And he says, shut up, you don't even know what you're talking about. And so the living room is set up to where, okay, the door's right here, and there's a couch right here next to the door. And then there's a tiny space, like probably about 1.5 feet wide, between this couch that's sitting right next to the door and a couch that's sitting this way. And then there's a couch on this wall. And the couch on the furthest wall over here, there's a giant picture of Jesus, okay? Huge, humongous, one of those big pictures of Jesus. And around Jesus is the pictures of is the parents, and then you have Dawn, Crystal, Zach, Josh, and then it goes, oldest to youngest all the way down to where the whole family is basically circling Jesus. And for 3 years, I have stared at that wall and could not stand seeing my family's smiling face next to their smiling faces around Jesus when I'm not a part of the family. They hate me. So I said, you know what? In my mind, I said, fuck
It's a lie. It's a lie.
I said, yeah, you get it. See, you get it. It's
You're being fed. You're being fed lies from the tablecloth. That's what it's called.
In my mind, I said, Rose, something told me this is the last time you're going to be in this house. So once you walk out that door, it's over.
Make it mean something. Make it mean something.
Yeah, I said, fuck it. And I jumped over the couch. And I ran up and jumped on the other couch. And I jumped up because Dawn's the oldest of 9. So his picture's at the top. And I was like, I could feel Dawn's dad's hands around my rib cage. He was deciding what to do with me. He didn't fully grab me yet, but I could feel his hands because it took me 3 times of jumping up to get it. Like, seriously, like it was way up there high on the wall, and I'm short. And I could feel him touching me. And I get down off the couch. I run across the room.
You wily.
And Dawn's mom blocks the door, so I can't get out. She blocks the door.
She told you to leave, though. She already told you to leave.
She's blocking it, though.
Now they're holding you captive. Now you're being hostage.
I heard her yell as I was getting that picture. I heard her yell, "Don't let her go." I heard the mom say,
"Oh no!"
They didn't want me to take my picture.
Kangaroos.
And next thing I know, I am laying on the couch on my back, and a piece of the picture frame is in my hand. Not the picture frame is in my hand. I'm there on the couch going, what the hell just happened? Because I don't know. 1 minute I'm standing in front of Dawn's mom. Next second I'm laying on the couch flat on my back.
What happened?
And I look up and Dawn's mom jumps back. She does this all of a sudden jump. And in my mind, I was like, I think Dawn's dad just hit her. Because nobody jumps like that. Like, nobody just jumps back like that.
Why would he hit her, though?
So what happened was when he grabbed the picture from me, and it broke.
Yeah.
He turned around, I think, to hand it to Dawn's mom. And I don't think he realized how close Dawn's mom was to her. And he smacked her right in the face.
Instant
karma. The picture went down her face like this. He smacked her in the face and slid the picture down. And she had this big... I didn't see it until like 3 or 4 months after the fact. My lawyers finally showed me the picture of Dawn's mom's damaged face.
That's instant karma. That's instant karma.
So I'm laying on my back on the couch, and I see Dawn's dad talking to Dawn's mom, and they're distracted, and they're not looking at me. So I was like, okay, this is my chance. All I have to do is get over the arm of the couch, and the door is right there, wide open. All I have to do is jump over the arm of the couch, and boom, out the door, and I'm gone, right? So I get up off my back and I go like this to go over the arm of the couch. I go to get on all fours, to climb over the arm of the couch. Next thing,
spider monkey.
Next thing I know, my feet are like dangling in the air, and I'm trying to find some kind of ground to step on. My mind is like blacked out. Like I can't see anything. All I can feel is that my feet
Rose,
are lighter than air.
don't you watch Dora? Swiper no swiping.
Next thing, next thing I know, the worst pain in the world hits my face. My face hit the pavement. When I woke up on the porch,
On the porch?
I went from the couch to the porch.
How did you get from the couch to the porch? Do you know?
When I went to bend over like that to go over the arm of the couch, Dawn's dad grabbed me, picked me up, carried me to the door, threw me, and kicked me in the butt, and I went flying out the front door and hit the pavement. He broke my tailbone. He broke my tailbone. He kicked me that hard that he broke my tailbone.
Let me guess. The patriarchy will not allow you to file charges.
So I get up and I wake up on the porch, and I go to get up off the porch. I have no idea how I even got on the porch at this point. Because I've pieced, through the years, I've pieced this together, what happened. I'm telling you in hindsight what happened, because now I know I've pieced it together. So I get up, and I go to stand up, but I'm so dizzy, I end up doing this somersault off the front porch onto the grass. And I'm laying there in the grass, and I try and get up, and I'm so freaking dizzy that I fall back down on the grass. And I lay in there, and I look at the car because I went to call for Parker. Because last I knew, Parker was in the car. But when I look up at the car, it's empty. There's nobody there.
Oh, so yeah, then you're going to freak out because he walked.
He walked home. So I'm alone in this front yard. And I'm doing shit.
Beaten up by a man more than twice your size.
Way like 5 times. But he's like 300 pounds. He's so big. When he was walking in the courtroom from his table to the front stand, you could feel the whole room shake. That's how heavy.
Oh, he's like morbidly obese.
Yeah.
Like
you
unhealthy.
Could feel the whole courtroom shake as he walked. I was hoping that the jury could feel that.
Wow.
So they knew the size difference between me and him.
Scary. Right. Okay, so
at this point, this is 7 years ago, I'm like 20 pounds lighter than I am now, 15, 20 pounds lighter.
Right.
So anyways, I'm laying in the front yard. I don't know what to do. I'm just crying because I'm alone in the front yard. I don't even know how I got there. Last I knew, I was standing in front of Dawn's mom. That's all I knew. So I look up. Sorry, this story always gets me.
It's okay. Go ahead. For some reason, you need to purge it. Purge it.
I look up, and there's a stack of shovels sitting against the house. And I thought, wow, this is unlike Dawn's dad to leave out any, shovels, equipment, anything. So I reach up and I grab this snow shovel and I use it to stand up. And I'm sitting there, I'm standing, I'm getting steady, because all I need to do is run another 10 feet and I'm at my car. If I can just get to the car. So I'm trying to figure out how to get to the car, because I need to get to the car and then I can get home. Because I don't know why I'm in the front yard, and I don't know why I'm dizzy, and I don't know why all this shit is going on. And I look up in the window and I can see 2 silhouettes of Dawn's parents still standing at the front door with it. They closed the front door, but they're standing at the front door, and I can't tell what they're doing, but I just see 2 silhouettes standing there. And I think, oh my gosh, they're just right there, And so I was like, okay, I need to get to the car. So I turn around and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna do this. So I grab the shovel and I lift it up and I throw it behind me and I run. And as I'm running, all of a sudden I hear a bunch of glass shatter. The shovel hit the front window and shattered the front window.
Oh boy.
I threw the shovel, it hit the freaking front window. And I turned around
the windows at your car.
I turned around and I saw Dawn's dad turn and look at me through the window. And I thought, oh shit, this man is gonna kill me. I am dead. I'm done for. Because I just shattered his front window, I think. Like, I'm trying to piece shit together, but I think I just shattered his front window.
Right. That's okay.
My thought was he's going to jump through that freaking window and come after me. I thought, I'm dead. So I immediately turned back around and just finished running to the car because I am dead. And I drive like a maniac and I finally get home. I see a little bit of my face in the rearview mirror. The whole right side of my face is covered in blood. I get home, I get inside, it's kind of weird because I get inside and out of habit, I immediately take off my shoes and put them away. And then I go back to my bedroom where I know my husband is, and he's talking to Parker, and I walk back there, and Don takes one look at me, and he says, what happened to you? Because I come in, and my face is covered in blood, and I said, your dad. And then Don just looks at me, and he's like, oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
And he said nothing. And I was like, I didn't know what to say because not only did I screw shit up with his parents, but I screwed it up so bad I came home bloody. So I took off running back out the house and I jumped the fence and I go to the neighbor's yard and they have a couch on their porch and I sit on the couch and I see the guy through the window and so I knock on his window and I forget for a moment that my face is bloody. So he comes out and he starts freaking out, him and his wife. Because I'm sitting on their porch with a bloody face, and they call 911, and the cops were already at Dawn's parents' house. So when that 911 call came in from me, they just came over, and stupidly, this is how our justice system works. I should have walked in that house and said nothing, called lawyer, but I didn't. It was Dawn's dad's story against my story. I told my story. What was funny that day was earlier that day, I was wearing my 1950s style white dress with cherries on it, and I was dressed very cutely that day. And then, in the mail, came my Harley Quinn shirt. And I was excited, so I put on my Harley Quinn shirt. So instead of wearing a cute flower cherry dress, I'm
wearing your rage bait.
So the cop takes one look at me in my black sweats, my Harley Quinn shirt, and I have a little acne on my face.
And you're the bad girl.
Yeah, and he thinks this girl's got meth on her. She does meth because no adult has acne unless they do meth. So he arrests me. He decides to arrest me. And he takes me to his car and he says, it's better if you give me your drugs than if you go to the prison and they find it on you. He's like, give me your meth. And I said, I don't have meth. And he goes, yes, you do. He goes, you're going to get in less trouble if you just give me your drugs and you don't give them to the jail. 3 times he bugged me for my meth. And I said, I don't have meth. I said, what makes you think I have meth? And he said, well, I looked at your face. And I was like, what the fuck?
I love idiots. I really love idiots.
It's like I'm a freaking mom who just had a baby a year ago and shit. You know, skin gets bad.
Stop.
So he arrests me because he thinks he's going to get meth off me. But then he tells me on the way to the jail, well, it's okay. The courts will settle this out. And they charged me with 3 crimes: trespassing, criminal mischief for the broken picture and the broken window, and assault because of Dawn's mom's face. Because Dawn's dad told the cop that I hit her in the face, and that I damaged her face. So Dawn's dad blamed everything on me: the broken picture frame and Dawn's mom's face. So this is why I took it to jury trial. Because had I took the plea deal, I would have I didn't want to be found guilty for assault against Dawn's mom. I did not want to go down for that.
I get it.
I was not going to go down for assaulting his mom. If I took the plea deal, everybody would think I assaulted his mom. So I took it to jury trial because I did not assault the mom. I was going to tell my side of the story. Justice worked in my favor because the only thing I was found guilty on was the trespassing. I was found not guilty on criminal mischief and assault. Dawn's dad went down, pretty much it proves that he did the assault. I wish they went down for perjuring themselves on the stand.
Right.
Had a vision of the mom from Gilbert Grape when she went to get Arnie.
I was reading that. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's such a crazy movie.
God had to burn the house down when she died. Dude.
They're like, we're so embarrassed it'll take a crane.
We can't do this to Mom, so let's just burn it down. Wow. That's just awful.
So that's my criminal justice story, but I sat there and I helped my lawyers through it all. Because Dawn's parents said, here's what they said I did. They said they saw me. They said after they shut the door, they said that I was curled in a ball on the floor like this, and I was refusing to leave their home, and they had to push me out the house because I was curled in a ball on the floor like a 12-year-old and was refusing to leave their home.
Weird. They're weird.
That was their story. So Dawn's dad's like, well, yeah, I did use my foot to get her out of the house. I had to slide her out of the house because she was curled in a ball on my floor and wouldn't leave. And then they said I got up off the porch and grabbed the shovel and purposely went like that and slammed the window. So when I didn't know all the evidence they had, and they had a picture of the shovel laying on the ground. They said it had been untouched for 2 days. And the glass was pulled inside the shovel. Now, picture this. This is how I proved that I didn't do the crime. Because this is what I told my lawyer. Had I had the shovel and purposely took a baseball stance and hit the window, the glass would have shattered around the shovel and hit the ground, and then I throw the shovel, and the shovel is on top of the glass. But because I threw the shovel and it hit the window, it fell first, and then the glass shattered and pulled inside the shovel. It's physics, guys. It's physics.
Yeah.
So it proved that I accidentally broke the window by throwing the shovel because the shovel went flying and hit the ground first.
Because science. Damn it.
If I took a baseball stance.
I love it.
If I took a baseball stance.
What are you doing? Sir. Hang on.
No problem.
I have a naughty bird. Sir.
He's being naughty because you said so.
That you are in a place where you're not supposed to be. Step up. Thank you. This is a good boy. Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
I guess. These people are going to think we're crazy.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Bam, bam. My little anime chick. Decoration. I need to get I need to get some kind of like dolls and stuff to decorate the desk with, so that people have a fun background to look at.
Okay.
Okay. But
Sorry.
yeah. Well, so when we were picking the jury, it was kind of funny. My lawyer mistaked what I was saying. So when you pick the jury, they bring in, you only need 6 jurors, but they bring in 24 people. And they go through 24 people. They question them. So it's weird how you pick a jury. The first good 6 people is what goes on your jury. So this is what people don't know about jury selection. So they give you a number when you get called to go into jury, they give you a number. And you sit in that order in the courtroom, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 24. The first good 6 people, no, it's not random 6 that's on your jury. You just get to pick a random 6. It's the first good 6 people get to be on the jury. So basically 1 through 12, you're most likely going to be on the jury. If you're 13 through 24, you're probably going to go home, so just chill and relax. So they ask you a bunch of questions, and luckily number 12 was what I wanted. Because number 1, 2, and I think the first 3 we let go home. Like one guy was couldn't stop talking about his sister's wedding. And so we're like, all right, he won't be able to focus on the crime because he's too busy talking about his sister. And he definitely had a mental disability, so we excused him. And then there's this one skater guy, he even brought in his skateboard, and he's like, well, I have finals in college this week. And we're like, no, you don't. But if you're going to be that, we're like, you're a skater, you just want to go home. But it's like, we'll excuse you anyways, because you don't look like you're going to focus on the crime either. So they take the first good 6 people. Number 5 was the cop's landlord. So he got excused. Because the cop that arrested me was there to testify at the trial. And one of the guys that was in the first good 6, my lawyer X'd him out. Because your lawyer gets to X out 3 people. Your lawyer gets to
Oh
say,
yeah.
I don't want. Yeah, your lawyer and the prosecution each get to X out 3 people of the first good 6. They get to X out each. They get granted 3. This is what makes jury selection fair. And you get to save 3, but on the other half. So there's 6 people that me and my lawyer have to pick. 3 of them are saves, and 3 of them are goners. Because that's what makes it safe. And then that's what makes a fair jury is we get to pick 3 that we like and 3 that we hate. And so does the prosecution. And if they're so, and then we pull the first 6 that we can agree on. The 3 that are X, there's 6 that are X that are just gone out of the first basically 12. There was one guy, they ask you, what do you have, a college degree, whatnot, and he said that he has some kind of college degree in like neuroscience or some kind of like something to do with physics. I can't remember what it was. And I whispered in my lawyer's ear, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And my lawyer's like, we're not going to pick a guy because you think he's cool. And I said, no, I meant cool as in this. I need somebody on the jury that knows how physics works so I can be found not guilty. He ended up being the jury foreman, actually.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, the guy I picked, the guy I liked, he ended up being, the jury's favorite. They picked him to be the foreman. Shows you I picked a smart guy, and he probably was one of the reasons I got off on the shovel thing because he knows physics. Right. I was like, dude, no, I need somebody that understands why the glass is pulled inside the shovel. And he will convince the others. It's like, boom, there you go. The jury was only out for 30 minutes. They really quickly decided my fate.
Jeez. 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. They really decided my fate in 30 minutes. It was very quick. They pretty much, I think, the trial was pretty straightforward who was lying and who wasn't. And I think they pretty much was like, okay, yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward that I was telling the truth and Dawn's parents weren't. Yeah. So anyways, that's my full story, guys. There you go. So when I talk about how I know jury selection and how trials go and blah blah blah, it's because
you've
been there, done that. And that was our second jury. That was our second jury. Because the first jury, because we went to go to court in October. And it takes almost 3 hours to do jury selection. It took us 3 hours to do jury selection. It took us so long that the judge is like, okay, everybody do opening statements. We're going to go to lunch. We'll come back. We'll do the trial. Then you guys, because they're like, it should be a one-day trial. You guys should be able to decide this today. It's this easy. We're just going to have 3 people on the stand, or 4 people on the stand. 3 for the prosecution, 1 for the defense. Done. Over with. Dawn's parents were each on the stand for an hour and a half each. Me and the cop were only up there for 20 minutes. It was crazy. Like, the truth is so easy to tell that me and the cop were up there for 20 minutes each. Dawn's parents is what made the trial go all freaking day till 6 o'clock at night. Because they were on the stand for an hour and a half each with their damn lies. But, anyways, where is it going with this? The first time in October, we picked the jury. They did opening statements. We broke for lunch. We came back and found out that during lunch, one of the jurors had a heart attack or a stroke or something. And there went our jury. There went our jury. We had to reset the court date, recall the jury, redo the whole jury selection all over again. So I've been through jury selection twice. Because the first time it was just like, oh my God. Oh, yeah. The first time it was, yeah. He had like a stroke or a heart attack or something during lunch. And we didn't do any saves. We only picked 6 people. We didn't pick like 1 or 2 extra saves. We just let everybody else go home. We didn't have any, what do you call those, like jurors that sit on the outside, like with OJ's trial.
Like
They
the
had
bench, like kind of bench. I don't know what they call them.
yeah,
Spares. I don't know.
yeah. They had, because like with OJ, they had spares because a few people got excused and they pulled people in. Because like there's certain things that if you do as a jury member, like if I run into the elevator and say hi to somebody on my jury, they're off.
Right.
I can't even say hi to them.
Nope.
So anyways, so basically this is what Americans don't know and they need to know, you guys, how trial works. First of all, never talk to a cop. Okay? This is how court starts. You talk to a cop, they arrest you, you're charged, now you're in the criminal justice system. Now you're playing the game. There is no excusals. Back in the 80s and 90s, you used to be able to, the prosecution used to be able to drop charges. Especially if a witness didn't want to show up or anything, they could drop charges. However, they decided that too many, because that's how women keep getting abused, is they'll forgive their husbands or their boyfriends or whatever, they'll drop the charges, and then ultimately ends up possibly in their death or something, because they keep dropping the charges, going back and moving back in with their abuser and getting abused again, and then calling the cops, filing charges, dropping charges, blah blah blah, round and round it goes, the cycle of abuse. And so to stop the cycle of abuse, the courts decided that there is no more dismissals. Once you're in the system, you're in the system. You're either getting a plea deal or you're going to jury trial, but you're screwed basically. You're in the system and you're gone. So first of all, never talk to a cop. Always call a lawyer or claim lawyer. Do your right to... People know, we all know we have a right to remain silent. I think people just laugh at that more than actually use it. Use it. Don't ever not use it, because the second you speak, they will hold that against you in court. Every little word you say. That's why the cop was there to testify in my trial, because I spoke to him that night. And he was there to repeat everything I said to him, which luckily matched the 911 tape, which luckily matched my story that I said on the stand. So it didn't matter anyways. But so basically, the justice system, you get as fair of a trial as you put into it. And this is what people like. You saw Nick in the interrogation laugh basically when they started reading him his rights, because he's like, oh, it's like that TV show, and TV shows don't portray what you really should do. We need to make a real TV show that really portrays what you need to do when a crime happens. Shut your mouth, try to avoid getting arrested. Talking is only going to get you in trouble. Don't ever trust a cop. They do, can, and will lie. They never tell the truth. Cops never do. Okay. So yeah, yeah, basically, exercise every right you have as an American. Do it. That's your best bet. And if you end up in the system, you are the detective. You or your family or your friends or everybody you can and will has to be the detective and has to help the lawyers. Like, you can't just sit on your ass.
I do.
And so basically, like, you see Nick during his trial, he's just sitting there.
Mhm.
In between his lawyers, he's just sitting there with a straight face.
Bless his
He-
heart. You just, yeah.
And always hammer out the best plea deal. The first plea deal they hand you, you necessarily don't exactly have to take. You have a right to hammer out a plea deal. They offer you a plea deal, counter it. Tell your lawyer what you want. Tell your lawyer what you think is fair. Look up the laws. You know? As soon as you get arrested or whatever, start Googling the laws in your state. Just you know, you have to be smarter than your lawyer, smarter than the cops, smarter than everything when a crime goes down. So basically, yeah, Nick got as fair of a trial as
One second. I'll be right back.
No problem. Okay, try to remember now. Now I've been ranting about other things. I'm like, okay, gotta remember what you were talking about, Rose. Okay, I'm trying to think. I got one thing. What was the other thing? There was two things about Nick that I was going to talk about. There was two things that I wanted to touch down on. Maybe it was the fair trial. So basically, this is unfortunate, though, for people like Nick and stuff. If you don't understand our justice system, especially because you've never been in it or you've never seen anybody go through it, if you know somebody who's going through it, take the opportunity to help them and learn the justice system. Because learn the justice system, how it works in your state. Because you never know if you will ever get caught up in it. Like I never thought I'd get caught up in it. And then I got in a fight with my in-laws. And boom, I'm in the system. And now I have a misdemeanor on my record that I was found guilty of. I think it was just like a class A misdemeanor or something like that. I don't know. It was a misdemeanor, so it's not a big deal. It's not a felon to trespass. It's not a felony to trespass. So basically, I was watching a video where they were talking to Nick. And this is what tells me, I don't know if he was manipulated or not, but let's talk about this. So Nick says, if I could do it all over again, he would still unalive Dee Dee just differently. So basically, if you look at it this way, if you went to prison for life and you found out that your significant other manipulated you, screwed you over, they are going to get out in just a few years and you are never going to get out. And you're watching them date and get married and blah, blah, blah.
You probably gave.
Why would you keep a secret to your grave after this point? Two, why would you not talk at this point and just spill it?
Maybe his divergence. I'm not sure.
And three, why would you say basically you do it all over again just a little bit differently? Wouldn't you say, if I could turn back time, I would have just dumped her? Or I would have said, run away with me. I would have gone down there and I would have gone to her door and I would have grabbed her and I would have grabbed her suitcase and I would have said, let's run away. Either we run away or I'm going and get back on that bus and I'll never see you again.
I think it absolutely proves his lack of mental stability.
Because if you were manipulated, you would be.
And intelligence. He has a low intelligence level.
Yeah, if you were manipulated.
And she does not. She does not.
If you were manipulated, though, you would be mad. You would be so mad.
It depends.
Nick is saying, I know I was manipulated. But why is he saying, fine, I'd still do it, but I'd do it all over again. I'd do it a different way?
Because he's still special needs.
I mean,
he's still a special needs person. And we have to remember that. He's still not going to think I don't want to say normal. He's not going to think diverge. He's neurodivergent. He's going to diverge from the norm. What's considered the norm.
I mean, because usually when people cross you and do something wrong and bad to you, usually you would be like, all right, I hate you. I'm never going to talk to you again. Screw you.
Autistic people are different.
Well, I'm autistic and I have an autistic brother.
But that's what's called a spectrum because everyone's different.
Well, I mean, Nick, to his current girlfriends right now, like he's kind of abusive and mean to them. And
maybe that's the person he is.
Well,
that's just who he is.
I think Nick was going between both of his parents' house. His parents were doing drugs, not really paying attention to him, but they were giving him a place to live. And I think Gypsy did bring something out in him. Like he said, oh, I saw something in my eye when I was 16. I knew something dark has always been lingering. And he let Gypsy bring out that darkness in him. Because I was telling somebody this in a past stream, that this is why Stephanie is calling him the beast, because she took his good son that never would harm anybody or anything, brought out this dark side in him that is now scaring women. Because remember, Fancy was dealing with that woman, Dawn that was a girlfriend in Nick's while he was in prison, and Nick is still playing out, oh, I have Nikolai, and Victor's no longer there. I think Victor is now Nikolai. But he's still playing like.
But see, that's exactly what I think it is. Playing.
Why isn't he getting mad at Gypsy and seeing her happy out here and screwing him over and saying, all right, yeah, I wouldn't do this for her ever again. I wish I could turn back time. I wouldn't do this for her because she's out. And no, he's just still sitting in jail going, I want the same deal as her. We both did the same thing. I want the same deal as her. It's like, Nick, if you want the same deal as her, talk. Tell us she did some of the jab wounds. Tell us she wasn't in the bathroom. Talk.
Right.
Prove to us, we got the autopsy. Prove to us what you did and what she did, and then we will know. Because everybody's guessing that tattoo on her back is
all her mom's jab wounds. It sure is.
It's a trophy.
It sure is.
Because Gypsy knows where every single jab wound is, and she got a tattoo of it.
From the autopsy report, of course. Mm-hmm. She knows exactly where everyone was, and I mean right down to the centimeter and diameter. At what angle?
She got that everything. She got that bird where the wings basically line all the jab wounds. The wings all.
They do. You can't deny it. I get tattoos. I love my tattoos. You know this. I'm telling you, I've looked at it and I've looked at it and I've looked at it, and yes, she damn sure did. It's a map, man. It's a map to her mother's death. Yeah, it's a trophy.
all we need is Nick to confirm it. Nick is the only other person
I think he
besides
knows.
possibly.
I don't think he knows about the tattoo. I don't think he knows about the tattoo.
No. Nick knows what Gypsy
Confirm
did that
that
night.
she did.
I
think they did it together. I think they both stabbed her. I think the more shallow.
What
I
it
think the
looks
more
like to
shallow
me.
wounds were him, and the deeper wounds were her.
What it looks like to me
shots.
in a way. What it looks like to me in a way. The way, because there's on her right side they're curved this way, and on her left side it's curved this way. It's like Nick was sitting on one side and Gypsy was sitting on the other, and they both just went.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
One person did this and one person did this, and they both.
I can totally see the two of them. Okay, on 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Absolutely.
Jump on the bed and.
Absolutely. 100%. You can. I mean,
that's what it looked when I first saw the autopsy. That's the first.
You can imagine that being. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's speculation.
Yeah, it's speculation. But when I first saw the autopsy, that's what came to my mind when I first saw the autopsy.
Yes. Yeah, when you look at the stab wounds, that is what it looks like.
One person sitting on each side, going, and just both of them went at it all at once.
That's really what it looks like to me.
That's what it looks like to me.
And on one side, they're shallow, and on the other side, they're deeper.
Yep. The right side, I think, is deeper, and the left side is shallow.
And who would have been on the right side of her? Gypsy.
Yep.
Because that's where Gypsy slept.
There you go. And so, yeah, Gypsy was.
There you go. We know because of the CPAP machine.
And then it looks like they just did a cleanup job, put all the blankets on, had a little foreplay on the bed.
Maybe. I think so. I think they did it better.
Because why are the extra blankets on the bed? There's no need for extra blankets unless they were trying to have smecks and avoid getting blood
on them. Yeah. Or vice versa. But the thing is where is all that blood? It's not underneath those blankets.
What I think happened, in my opinion, is I heard that Gypsy wet the bed, allegedly. Okay, so they had a mattress. They had a mattress protector on the mattress. So what I think happened is all the blood ran out onto the mattress protector. And Gypsy waited until her mom was done bleeding and rolled it up because the only blood on the bed, look at it, because the neck was cut. She wasn't nearly decapitated.
Okay,
her neck was cut, and so
we're in Discord together now, and you can private me those pictures if you have them.
Okay. Yeah,
just private message them, DM those to me.
What it looks like is the body was left on the bed. Gypsy did cleanup job, whatever. They waited till she was done kind of bleeding out because the back is too clean. Like when you see the only thing is that
I want to see the shots.
Gypsy can't clean the hair, and so the hair was matted in blood, but the rest of the body was clean, which it shouldn't have been clean. So what I think happened was Gypsy rolled up that mattress protector with all the blood in it and threw it away in a garbage bag, cleaned up the body, and that's how the body has marks of the mattress on it, because the body was on the bed for a while without any sheets on anything. And then you have the
lividity. Does it show the lividity? Do you have pictures that show the lividity?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, send me the ones that you have.
I will see if I can go back to Candace Starr's page and get them, because I didn't save anything to my computer, because I ain't saving that stuff to my computer. Because they're unedited, full on
Yeah, that's.
There's no
I don't
blocking.
mind.
There's no blocking on. There's no blocked out blocks over parts of her body
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
to make
look at
it
them
decent.
and
Like,
then I'm gonna get rid of them. I'm
yeah,
not gonna save them. I'm gonna look at them. I'm gonna
but
look
yeah,
over them
I
and
will
get rid
get
of
them.
them.
I will see if I can get them too. But anyways, so I think Gypsy went to go make the bed, and as you make the bed, if you've ever made a bed with the body still in it, well, you know how your kid
At a
falls
nursing
asleep,
home,
like your
I
kid
have
falls
at a nursing home. Yes, I've
yeah,
done it
like
in
or
nursing
rest
homes.
home. Yeah, yeah. I've worked
Yes,
as a CNA, and so you sometimes have
yes,
to make a bed
yes,
with.
many times. Yes,
Well, so what it looks like is Gypsy made the bed, and as she
yeah.
was rolling her mom to put the blanket under, and then roll her this way and pull
To
there,
roll it back
the
under.
the neck, the neck rolled like
That's
this,
why I want to look at the
and
pictures because I
that's why
know how to do it
that's why
as one
there's
person.
That's why there's blood on the sheets right here coming out from the
Okay,
neck because
okay.
she rolled the neck as she was putting. Because you roll the body like this, you stuff the blanket, and then you roll the
Instead
body
of
like
getting the
this,
sheet all the way to
and
the
so
top of the bed,
the
she's
only
only got it
yeah
to the neck.
the
Yeah,
only blood on the sheets is from
is
the neck.
neck.
Yeah,
Interesting. So
where it
that's
looks
exactly
like
what
the
they
neck
did. They
being
rolled,
rolled like this.
but
Because
he
yeah,
would know that because the care that was given to her in front of other people or by CNAs or doctors and nurses, she would know how to do that in a bed as well.
yeah.
To her mother, she would know how to change the bedding with a body in it.
She's been in a hospital enough that
Exactly.
if you
She
frequent
knows
hospitals,
exactly
you
how
know.
to do that.
And so
So
that's why
there's
there's no blood on the sheets, except for everybody's like,
that.
well, what's this blood for? It's like, duh, you guys, you can see that she made the
With
bed
the
and the
sheet
neck
all the way to the
rolled,
top of the bed.
and
If she had gotten
because
the sheet all the way to the top
yeah,
above her head, it wouldn't have blown off.
because
You're
there
right.
was a deep wound in the neck. When they rolled the body, the neck spilled out.
You're
Then they rolled the body
something.
this way, and the
I'm
neck
telling
spilled
you.
out.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely. That.
the only way that gallons of blood are gone is if she was
See
unalived
how many?
elsewhere. If she was
What is it?
unalived
7 liters?
elsewhere,
I think we
if
have
she
7 liters.
yeah, we have 7 liters, 5 to 7, yeah, about that, and gallons or something like that in your body. You
Liters.
have
No,
a lot of
it's
blood. Oh,
liters.
liters. So, anyways, either she was unalived elsewhere, like in the shed, and then drug in there, and they could still, while they make the bed, get, or that mattress protector wasn't on the bed, is what people said. And so that is what I'm thinking is, if she was unalived in the bed, then Gypsy cleaned everything up and just rolled all that blood in the mattress protector,
Makes more
because the mattress,
sense than any of the other crap I've heard
yeah,
about them moving her and killing her somewhere else, or somebody else came in and helped them, or no, it was the two of them,
I
and
mean,
that's exactly how they did it.
that
They changed the sheets while they changed the bedding while her body was in the
I
bed,
mean,
and she
Dee
cleaned her up.
Dee's body, her upper body was on her side of the bed, and her lower body was slightly on the other side of the bed. So you could tell that the body was rolled because
Mm-hmm.
they had to kind of push the body to get the blanket
Clearly.
under, because she was semi-diagonal a little bit. And you don't, if you lay next to your daughter every night, you don't go to bed laying
You're not
diagonal.
going to go to bed that way.
You lay
No.
on your side of the bed. And every married
And
person knows this.
she,
You go to
and
bed on
she
your
would,
side of the bed.
I might buy a little fight. I mean, that
Yeah.
would be the only other reason was her fighting. That would be the
Yeah.
only other reason.
Well, and you can also tell the bed was made because she's laying lower than the pillows. And so her body's been pulled
Exactly.
down and rolled.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so
And
basically,
that's
this
hard to do
bed
if you've
was,
never done it before, and if you're working with somebody of that size.
yeah.
It's,
Basically,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
her and Nick could have rolled the body together and could have
But
just,
they didn't have any experience doing it or practice. So
because like if you've been a CNA, you know what dead weight almost feels like, because
they're
those
not
old
ready
people
for
can't
that. They're not
help
ready
you.
for it.
They can't help
Hmm.
you. And so they
Right.
are almost dead weight.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
I know what it's like almost to move dead weight. Not
Yes.
completely,
Yes.
because dead weight is a little stiffer, but when
Oh
you
no,
are
I've
moving elderly
dead,
people,
and it's dead weight, man.
yeah.
It is. It's
And
weird.
so that's what I think it looks like. I think this mattress protector was there.
Hmm.
It got rolled up, put into a garbage bag. Maybe that's why there's driplets of blood down the hallway. She rolled it up, carried it to the kitchen, put it in a garbage bag, and put it in the garbage can that got taken out, apparently. I guess the garbage was coming the next day or something, because I don't know.
Yes, dog.
That's
My neighbor is also my caretaker.
oh
State pays
nice.
her, so my lunch is ready. So, and if
Oh,
I don't eat my lunch, because of my eating disorder, my husband would be very unhappy. So I have to go and eat my lunch. So, but now we can stream together.
yay! I'm glad you're
And
here.
you finally got me here.
I'm like, yeah, it's been a minute because you had problems with
It's
your oxygen, and then you're staying.
gosh, man.
I'm glad you didn't go to the hospital. I was
It
like, please don't go to
looked
the hospital.
it was looking bad. It was looking a
Yeah.
little rough. I was
Me,
getting
me and
worried.
me and Chewy were very, very worried about you. Chewy
I was
worries about you a lot. Chewy
I know
worries
he does.
about you a
He's
lot.
such a
He
sweetheart.
is.
He really
He is.
is. It's all the
I
people that I find in my circle are very kind.
I wish he was in Utah and I could help him find somebody, because life is easier. Problems are easier to go through when you have somebody, and
Yeah,
he's
he's
he
lonely.
needs, yeah, he needs somebody to go through life problems with.
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
I tell him all the time, I wish I could. I was like, but you're states away, and I wish I could help you guys. The best I could do is just be here for you to talk to.
Yeah, you're my friend. That's all. That's all that matters. I mean, we've gone from being able to have friends to going through a pandemic and not being able to be around anybody to now that's just the way we have to live life. You know.
Well, like, I'm
So.
glad I streamed, because well, now, okay, we now have friends. Me and
Mhm.
my husband, I guess, went on Twitter X or whatever,
Oh, you
and
won't find me there.
he found not only a group of Mormon people
Oh,
that are
good.
on Twitter. He found a group of Mormon people that are very political, talking about the political
Oh,
situations
fun.
lately.
Oh, so he's happy.
And they all live here in Utah. They all live around Salt Lake City.
Hey.
So Friday night, they're the ones we watched the movie with a month ago. And
Mm.
then Friday night, we went to a potluck dinner at one of their houses. It
Didn't
was
I hear
funny
some,
because
didn't I
there's a
hear
girl
something
that
recently? Are you all going on vacation or something?
no. So there's a girl that I met there that streams, and so she might hopefully come in and say hi to us, and might also stream with us. She might want to come up
Fun.
as a guest. She
Sure.
surprisingly, she asked me what I stream, and I said true crime, and she said she wants to get into true crime. And when she asked what I talk about in true crime, and I told her I'm embroiled in the Gypsy Rose case right now, she actually knew who Gypsy Rose was, but she doesn't know much
Cool.
about the case. She said to me, she said, "Well, Gypsy had a very sheltered childhood." And I said, "No, she did
No,
not.
she did
No,
not.
she did not."
Oh,
And
girl.
I
Girl.
corrected her. And one of the other girls that was there that night showed me that she's on a Facebook snark page of gypsies.
Oh, ooh, fun.
So they actually knew who Gypsy Rose was, which I don't run into people that knew who Gypsy is. They did
right.
at the party.
Girl, have some fun.
And I was the one with all the information. I'm like, no, I can talk all day about this. I'm like, if you have any questions,
yeah.
it's like I've been covering this case since February. It's like I know. I explained to him how it's not Munchausen's, it's malingering, and how up until Hurricane Katrina, I mean, she had her cousins, her family, her dad. Her birthday parties were full of people. She had family events. She was not sheltered. Not until they got to Missouri. And she was 15 by that point.
Do you guys forbid Halloween?
No.
You do not forbid Halloween? Woo! Yay, can we do a Halloween stream?
Yeah, as long as, oh, you know what? I will see what I can do.
In costume.
A friend of mine that I used to work with 10 years ago, turns out I found out a couple months ago that he lives down the street from me. He's a streamer too.
Ooh.
He makes his very own costumes of Leatherface. Go look up his TikTok. His TikTok is...
I have TikTok. I don't do TikTok. I refuse TikTok. I refuse it.
He doesn't do YouTube. He does TikTok.
Use TikTok. I can't.
He's called the Salt Lake City Leatherface, I think.
That's cool. That is very cool.
I want to do a Halloween stream with him. Have him come over to my house. You be like, come over.
Do it in costume and have him show you his stuff. That would be so cool.
Because it's like, yeah, he makes it himself.
And see what he says.
We can do a Halloween stream after I get back with trick or treating with my kids. Because my mom is having me take my kids trick or treating. So I'm going to take them during the daylight, and so as soon as it's, daylight's over, me and my husband will come home, and then maybe I'll see if I can get him to come, because it turns out he moved down the street from me. He lives just a little ways down the street. It's like, oh my gosh, he lives down the street from me.
That's cool. That is so cool.
I came back in touch with him. I came back in touch with him a couple months ago. I was just on Twitter and I added him, or I forgot, I somehow, I think it might have been Twitter. I added him or something, and then he started messaging me, and I was like, how you doing? How are you doing? It's like, what are you up to? And I said, he asked me where I lived, and I said Tooele, and he said, oh, I live in Tooele, and I said, where do you live? And he said, by the hospital, and I said, I live by the hospital.
This is getting weird.
Like, what? How do you live by the hospital? I live by the hospital. So on the turnabout, you go straight to get to my house, and you go 3/4 through and go left to get to his house. So you go that to mine and that to his house, and so we just live kind of in the same neighborhood.
Okay, I'm going to have to go eat before I get in trouble.
Okay.
Right.
Watch and chat if you can, but I guess I'll talk about the Menendez brothers for a second.
Yeah, get on that.
I'll talk about them. Love you too. Thanks for being here.
It was fun. I've been missing you too, but I'm feeling a whole lot better. So
I'm glad you are. I need to get some sleep sometime.
Yeah, you do.
I can still slightly smell that smell. I hate it. I need to get it out of my mind. Okay.
Go make coffee. Make coffee and drink it.
I need to get it out of my mind somehow. I need to.
For some reason, coffee resets your brain. The smell of coffee will reset your brain.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why we sniff coffee in perfumery businesses and blending oils, things like that. I used to blend oils magical purposes and for wearing purposes so that they smell good.
Maybe you should go to the store and get a coffee flavored candle and stick it in my room so I can sleep.
A coffee fragrance? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Or wax
Because
cubes.
I need something to reset the smell in my room right now, because I can't forget this smell right now. And
You need to reset the smell in your and coffee resets your sniffer.
I'm
The
afraid
smell
if I
of
fall
coffee
asleep
beans.
again, right? I'm afraid if I fall asleep again right now with this smell still in my mind, that I'm gonna go back
Just
into
go
that
make,
dream.
yeah, just go make some coffee and drink it.
I'm gonna be
Just make
throwing up again
make a
and be
little
like,
bit of, no. It'll get rid of it. But yeah, the coffee will work. It resets the centers of the brain.
okay,
Just any fragrant or any flavor, it doesn't matter. Any way you want it, just make sure it's coffee.
okay. I
Okay.
love the smell of. I need to go get like a vanilla cappuccino one. Be like, okay, let's go find a vanilla cappuccino one at the store.
It doesn't matter, just as long just get the smell of coffee, coffee or coffee beans. I
Okay.
mean, you can even just go down in your cabinet and just open the coffee beans. Just sit there and smell the open container of coffee, and it'll just reset the center of the
Okay.
brain.
Okay.
It does.
Because
It clears the mental palate.
I need to clear it so bad. I wish I would
For
have
some
known that in
reason,
the middle of the night, because I was like, I get so upset when I don't sleep. And then my days and nights get mixed up.
instantaneous.
My days and nights get mixed up. And if I sleep in the day, then that ruins my night again the next night. And then all of a sudden I'll start sleeping in the day and I'll stay awake in the night.
Yeah,
And I need to reset.
and that's mixed up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mixed up right now because this stupid dream. It was so crazy and it was so real. Like I could feel my body retching.
Yeah.
Like it was bad. And I woke up with
But the
like drool
coffee will fix
everywhere.
it. The coffee will fix it. The coffee smell.
Okay.
The coffee
I
smell
need to
will
go
fix it.
reset it.
Seriously, like just go downstairs and just smell some coffee. It's crazy. You'll be like, I can't believe that worked and worked that fast. It's
Maybe I need
weird.
to go to the vape store and get that coffee vape back. Just kidding.
Smart idea. Smart idea.
Dawn won't let me have money for a vape because I could really use it right now.
Right.
Use it right now. I was smoking a cappuccino vape. I could use that right now so bad. Oh God. Well, go have your lunch because you need to be healthy, and I'll just talk about the Menendez brothers real quick before I go.
Okay, honey, you take care. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Smell
You
some
take care
coffee.
too. I
Okay,
will.
smell coffee and touch grass. Okay, bye, baby.
I'll go outside and roll in the grass. I'll smell the grass. Yeah.
Where?
Maybe that'll reset it. Yes.
Stay away from the chiggers.
What?
It says stay away from the chiggers.
Okay. The chiggers.
The
Okay. For what?
chiggers are the little red bugs that are in the grass, and we have them in Oklahoma, and they're in the grass, and they're like little mites, and they'll get up under your skin and bite you. They suck. And we actually have something called the Chigger Chase every year. That's a race for charity.
In Utah, we might have ticks, but you have to go out camping to get like a tick on you.
No, you can barely see this. It's so tiny. A chigger.
No, our grass is safe here in Utah. We're cool. You can roll in it all you want. We're safe. Our grass is safe.
I would love that. That'd be nice.
Let me tell you one real quick cool fact. Okay. I met my son's girlfriend the other night.
Yeah.
And she's from Florida. But she's moved around from Florida to North Carolina to, I guess she was living in Ohio. And then she came to Utah for a week. I need to ask my what happened. But she came to Utah only for 1 week. And somehow ran into my son. And he said, nope, you're my girlfriend. You're moving in with me. And she stayed in Utah.
Well.
But because she's from Florida, her dad, for some like traffic violations or something, wasn't a big deal. Went to prison for a minute. With Ted Bundy.
Ooh, yes.
I was like, your dad's talked to Ted Bundy? I'm like, tell me more.
everything. Oh, we're gonna have to get him. That's toxic.
I'm like, oh man, your dad's met Ted Bundy? No way.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like,
that's cool in a scary way. All right, baby, I'm gonna go eat before my food is completely cold. But you talk about the Menendez brothers, so I'll listen.
Okay.
Okay, love you, hon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, we'll talk about. Okay, so I don't know this chick. Maybe I should show her. She kind of complained about the Menendez brothers. She complained about the Menendez brothers. She complained about them. Let me look at my history real quick. She got me to watch the show because she complained about the Menendez brothers show. Here she is. Monsters misrepresenting. She said this. I didn't find that the show misrepresented the Menendez brothers. I thought it represented them actually very well. So well, my husband had me shut the show off because when it came time to talk about the abuse of the Menendez brothers,
and that's when he decided he wouldn't be able to go and see Perry Berman at Taste of Alabama.
One thing that was interesting about the show that I did not know about the Menendez brothers is, did you know, and hopefully you're watching 13th Hour, did you know, I'm trying to see if I can find a picture, because that's Eric. Trying to find, okay, so that's Eric right here on this side. Eric. This is Lyle Menendez. Did you know that this is a toupee? That he wears a toupee? That all the stress from the child abuse and the fighting with his parents as an adult and everything that was going on with the drama, Lyle started going bald from all of this stress and drama. And as you know, it is really tough on a guy's ego when he goes bald. And so in the show, there's a scene in the show where Lyle and Eric are sitting at the dinner table with their parents. And Lyle announces to his parents that he wants to marry his girlfriend, Jamie Lee. And they tell Lyle, you're too young. He's 21 at this point. That's not too terribly young to get married. But, I mean, Jose and Kitty Menendez got married when they were around 21, when they were around Lyle's age. And Kitty got so mad at Lyle that she went up and ripped his toupee off his head. And that's how Eric found out that his brother had a toupee. Lyle hid it from his own brother. Like, Lyle and Eric were not close brothers. They weren't. They were not close brothers at all. Not until after Kitty exposed Lyle's bald head, Eric started realizing that his brother was being abused too by and that's when they kind of became inseparable, was they realized that this abuse, that each of them were being abused in their own ways by their parents and being kept separate so that they wouldn't talk. Because the parents didn't want them to talk and expose them. Because Kitty knew that Jose was essaying his sons. And it's easy to believe that the sons were being essayed because we know that Jose Menendez was the manager of boy bands like Menudo, NSYNC, stuff like that were coming out. Jose Menendez, they figured out that boy bands in the early 90s was the way to go. Or the late 80s, they figured out that boy bands were the way to go. And they were not allowed to be over the age of 16 in Menudo. The second they went through puberty and turned 16, they got kicked out of Menudo because Jose Menendez didn't want to SA anybody that was over 16 and had gone through puberty. He liked them little. And Jose is a very, very sick man. And it's kind of funny, not funny, but I mean, just use the word funny, but it's kind of crazy that we are, like, unaliving is never the answer. Because, like, I was watching this one guy talk about the case, and yeah, when you unalive somebody, like when Gypsy unalived Dee Dee and the Menendez brothers unalived their parents, you unalive half of the story because Kitty and Jose are not there to tell their side of the story. However, we all know that Jose's going to deny it and lie, though. Like, Jose's going to go, yeah, oh yeah, I'm caught. I like little boys. Yes, I'm caught. No, Jose's going to lie. Because everybody wonders, did the Menendez brothers unalive their parents because of their inheritance or because of the abuse? And I don't know why people don't see it was actually a lot of because of the abuse, but because what happened is the Menendez brothers were being abused by the parents. The parents were overprotective and because they got caught stealing and embarrassed Jose told him, I'm cutting you out of the will. And so Lyle's like, okay, we got to do it now before Dad cuts us out of the will. Because we did not go through all this crazy abuse and not deserve to inherit this when our parents pass on. Lyle was so upset at the fact that, I mean, how would you feel if your abusive parent decided to disinherit you? I mean, these boys were kind of wild. And here's the thing is, I've said this in a past stream and I'll say it again. There is 2 reasons why nobody cared about the Menendez brothers. Because A, people don't care as much when a boy is essayed than they do a girl. People care more when a girl steps forward and says they've been essayed. Boys don't, it is very unmanly to step forward and say you've been essayed. And so they were saying, well, they didn't tell Dr. Oziel that they were essayed. But guys don't generally, like, when you find out when one woman steps forward and says they've been essayed, like with Danny Masterson, one woman finally stepped forward, 3 followed. With guys, it took a decade for somebody from Menudo to finally step forward a decade later and say, okay, Jose essayed me too. So yes, believe Lyle and Eric because I was essayed too. So men don't line up and back each other up and say, oh, yep, I was essayed too by the same guy. But girls do. Girls talk. If you essayed a bunch of girls, all it takes is one to bravely step up, and then a bunch of others will jump behind them. And so nobody cares. This is the sad case of the Menendez brothers, is nobody cares when something happens to rich people, which the Menendez brothers are rich, so everybody sees them as these rich, snobby boys that wanted their inheritance. So who cares that they got essayed? However, people did care enough, though, that their first trial was deadlocked. I wish it hadn't have been deadlocked. So the second trial, the reason why the Menendez brothers went down for the unaliving of their parents was because in the second trial they didn't allow. See, this is what I told you guys about our justice system the last time. Yep, one screams, all roars. This is what I told you guys about our justice system. This is why it's unfair. You don't always get to, like I said, you bring a stack of evidence to your lawyer. For every 10 pages you bring to your lawyer, 1 page might be admissible in court, while the others are not admissible in court. So when they went to court when they had a retrial, they didn't let the SA be part of the testimonies. So without the story of the SA, yes, it is premeditated murder. Completely. They bought the pew-pew rifles 2 days prior down in San Diego. They planned this for a couple of days at least, and then carried it out very brutally, to the point Kitty was completely chased down, and she had 5 or 10 wounds on her. 10. And so without the backstory of the motive was the SA, was all the abuse. The motive, without the motive, it looked. So basically the jury found them guilty, and then the jury needed to decide if they got the death penalty or life. That's when they allowed the SA story in. They said, okay, these guys were SA'd, so do you want to put them on death row, or do you want to let them just be in there for life? And the jury looked at it and said, they were SA'd, well, then they shouldn't have been convicted at all. They're like, if I would have known about the SA, I wouldn't have seen it as first-degree murder. And they're like, we would have just let them be, and they're like, we wouldn't have convicted them. So because they're convicted because their SA story was left out. So do they deserve to get out because they technically didn't have a fair trial, because their second trial ran differently than their first? Because their first trial was deadlocked, they decided, okay, well, let's not allow the SA in, and then it won't be deadlocked. And it wasn't deadlocked. But the unfortunate part is without the SA, without the motive, and so should they be let out? Because the only difference between the Menendez brothers and what Gypsy did is technically these guys really were abused. These guys really were, okay? Gypsy only says her grandfather maybe. Okay, you know what? If Gypsy really was SA'd by her grandfather, she'd be able to come out with like a number. Like, how long were you SA'd? For a couple months? Just once? Just twice? For a whole year? What, Gypsy? You just said, oh, he SA'd me. Well, how long, Gypsy? If you're SA'd, you know how long you were SA'd for, okay? You will be able to pull a time frame out and some details. But Gypsy's got, once again, it's a Gypsy story with no details, no time frame, no nothing. She just says it happened, but there's no story, there's no details, there's no nothing. But the Menendez brothers, I mean, their stories were so bad. Like I said, my husband made me shut the show off because that's how bad the stories got. My husband was like, shut it off. Shut it off. He's like, I can't hear this anymore. I was playing my Nintendo while I was watching it so that I didn't, I wasn't thoroughly embroiled in it to get as affected by it, which made me have to rewind the show a couple times to make sure there was I wanted to make sure it was accurate that the Menendez brothers, like Lyle, the reason why Dr. Aziel wasn't unalived was because Lyle was only in it if Eric was in it, and Eric didn't want to unalive Dr. Aziel. And so Lyle was like, okay, because Lyle is very codependent on Eric. Eric was the first one to fire the rifles. Lyle did not fire his rifle until Eric did it. Oh my gosh, they showed the whole thing. I had to rewind it 3 times to make sure it was pretty accurate, to see how accurate it was on who shot who and who fired first and everything, because I kept missing it. Be prepared if you watch it on Netflix for the brutal unaliving of their parents, especially Jose. They show it all. Like, this Netflix does not hold back on this show, by the way. So if you want to watch this show, be prepared that Netflix does not hold back. And some of the SA too. Like, they did Baby Reindeer, and they don't hold back on the SA in Baby Reindeer or the Menendez story. Like, Netflix is bold that they're almost crossing that line where it should be an HBO show. If they showed any more, it would be an HBO show. But they barely stay on that side of the line to keep it a Netflix show. Because there is also full-on frontal nudity of one chick at a party. And when they first go to prison, Eric, there's shower scenes, by the way. Be prepared to, I mean, like I said, the HBO should have took this show on, because Netflix was crossing that line over into HBO territory with this show, because we get full on nudity front and back of the guy who plays Eric Menendez in a shower scene. So be prepared for all of that. It's quite graphic. The whole show Netflix doesn't hold back. So if you watch it, just know Netflix doesn't hold back, guys. They tell the story, and they tell the story. Okay, they tell the story. And I don't see what this girl's problem is with it, because they tell the story.
With this book are pure. The book
I need to get that book that she's talking about. I need to read that book now. I need to get that book.
Of the tragedies surrounding our crime have taken the painful truth.
Although, okay, yes, Eric Menendez does not like the coverage that Netflix did. He says it's a bunch of lies. He's very angry at the coverage that Netflix did.
Several steps backwards, back through time to an era when the prosecution narrative on a belief system that males were not actually abused and that males experienced trauma differently than women.
Yeah, see, she's talking about that. We don't care as much about men as we do about women. When a man gets abused, you tell him to buck up. When a female gets abused, cater to her, and you heavily punish whoever abused her. I mean, they're going down. Somebody abused a girl. But when a guy's abused, you just tell him to suck it up, buck up, act like a man, move on. When a man's in pain, you tell him to freaking. And so yeah, this happened. Oh my gosh, I was 8 years old when this all went down. I'm like, I remember what I was doing back when this was going down. I was not watching TV, definitely, because I grew up knowing about the Menendez brothers, but I didn't like oh, it feels like everything happened all at once. The Menendez brothers, OJ, everything happened all at once. Like, all of this went down. Like, their trials went down in the mid 90s. Like, I was in junior high and early high school when they got sentenced. I mean, their trials went on for so long that OJ had his trial done and gone by time. I guess it is a good thing maybe they didn't hire Robert Shapiro, because Robert Shapiro was busy taking OJ's case instead of the Menendez case. Because Robert Shapiro didn't want to take the Menendez case because he knew they were guilty. But the thing is there is, I actually understand what the Menendez brothers talking about. They unalived their father. He was a very, very bad man. Now, people don't deserve to be unalived, but Jose Menendez was a very bad man. Very bad man. Like I said, it wasn't just his boys. Okay, these boys, people kept calling them boys even though they were legal adults, because their minds are still boys. Because abuse keeps you from growing up. When you are abused, it stunts your ability to grow up. And the abuse never stopped for Eric. And so it really stunted. And so when you're that stunted, you don't realize, I think Eric didn't realize what Lyle wanted him to do. To unalive their parents, inherit their money, and take over mom and dad's life when mom and dad are gone. Because when you're stunted, and they didn't take this into account into the Menendez trial, when the jury's looking at Eric Menendez, they're not taking into account that he's not understanding the permanency in the decision that him and Lyle made. Because they wanted the abuse to stop. And not only did they stop the abuse for them, I mean, they stopped the abuse for everybody that Jose abused and everybody Jose was going to abuse. Because he was still working for that record label. And it just kind of shows you not to envy the rich. Because Jose Menendez was heavily looked up to. When he passed on, people thought that a great man and woman were taken out of this world. And Lyle and Eric will tell you how he was cheating on, Jose was cheating on his wife with women. He had other women in New York. He had other women in California. He had boys. He had women. He had all kinds of stuff. Jose was the worst husband in the world. And he created an empty soul in Kitty. Kitty was just a shell of a person, is how the boys describe their mother. The father she didn't have the guts to leave her husband and just take her boys and go. Instead, she stayed, and she was just a shell of a woman. She drank her days away as her husband went and slept around with everybody. Didn't matter, male, female, young, old. They saw their mom's unaliving as a mercy because the psychotherapy this woman would need to get away from Jose. The problem is, in our world, is everybody says that it takes a village to raise. But where's our community? Where's our village? Where were Lyle and Eric supposed to turn to? Because Kitty and Jose were going to lie. And so where could they turn to and get people to believe them? Because you had their word against their parents. And unless, like I said, it took a decade for people in Menudo, for a couple of people in Menudo as adults to step up. And allegedly, people in like NSYNC and Ricky Martin at one time was part of one of these boy bands. I don't know if he got abused or people in the band that he knew got abused. But a lot of these people they are famous singers now, and they're not going to tell you they were abused. They're boys. They're not going to face that. And they're famous now, and so they're not going to wreck their name by coming out with, oh yeah, we'll back up the Menendez brothers. We're abused too. Because they're not, because they're men and they're famous. They're just gonna silently move on with their lives, and they're gonna go get married and wreck their girlfriends' lives like Britney Spears, because they're gonna fight with their wives because they're abused and they didn't get help. Because there's a lot of people in this case that got abused that needed help. It wasn't just Lyle and Eric that needed help. I mean, Jose ruined so many people's lives. And at what point do you look at people like Kyle and Eric as either heroes or villains? Because how many boys did they save from being abused? How many future boys did they save from being abused by putting their father down? They stopped the abuse that some boys were facing, and they stopped future abuse from happening. So at what point do you say they've paid the price? Eric is only 11 years older than me. It's like he's halfway through his life. Do we let him out and let him live some semblance of a life? Because he's paid his dues for saving people's lives? We don't know how many people he saved by what he did. It's a hard thing to face because, like I said, it is breaking the law to unalive somebody. It is thoroughly breaking the law to unalive somebody. So we don't want to encourage people to unalive their abusers. But how do we get help for the abused people? When do you believe them? Because the abuser is never going to go, oh, yep, I'm caught. Go ahead, cuff me, take me to jail. I am caught. Yep. He outed me. I am caught. Like I just told you guys my story. My in-laws tried to turn it on me and say I was the one that assaulted my mother-in-law. I didn't insult her. But that's what abusers do. They don't want to face the fact that they did the assault, especially to someone they loved. My father-in-law did not want to face the fact that he was the one who hit his wife in the face. Wasn't me. I didn't have the picture. I didn't throw it at her. He says I took the picture and chucked it at her. I didn't. He had the picture. I had the frame in my hands. I had half the frame in my hands. And my fingernails were bent backwards because that's how hard he pulled it out of my hands. I had the cops take a picture. They showed the jury it. They're like, well, you could barely see their nails are bent backwards, but they took a picture of her hand for a reason because she's sitting there saying, like, that's how hard the frame was pulled out of her hands. Was he bent my fingernails backwards? All of them. Not one, not two, all of them. All my fingernails were bent backwards. And they were all hurting when I got home. My whole fingers were hurting. My butt was hurting. My face was hurting. My whole body basically was hurting. But my abuser denied what he did to me. And he denied what he did. So how do you get help? Because my abuser took me to court. He should have been in my seat. I should have been in his seat. It should have been the other way around. I should have been suing him for what he did to me. He got away with what he did to me. The courts never turned it around. Because I asked my lawyer, are we going to charge him? Well, the prosecutor's got to decide if he wants to charge him. And the prosecutor just got done representing him. So the prosecutor doesn't want to turn around and charge somebody with assault that he just represented. See, that's the problem with our justice system. Is the prosecutor just got done getting to know my father-in-law, believed his side of the story. So when it turns out that he's the abuser, the law's not going to turn around and be like, "Yeah, we got to book ya. It turns out you're the abuser," and nobody's going to put him on trial and give me the chance to be in the other seat and punish my abuser. Instead, no, my abuser got to punish me. How backwards is our justice system when your abuser is the one taking you to court? That is backwards. Your abuser is not supposed to take you to court. You're supposed to take your abuser to court. It's so backwards. But see, my father-in-law, he's got a history of no crime, of being a bishop. And so on paper, he looks better than me. Because, well, my criminal record is actually juvenile. It's hidden, so... Because I've been on probation now 3 times in my life. 3 times? 3? I'm on my 3rd time right now. So, yeah. Our justice system is backwards. When the cops sit there and decide who's the liar and who's not, and the cop, who's not trained in psychology, chooses to arrest the wrong person. That's where our justice system begins. People are like, well, our justice system is racist because more black people get put away. Well, yes, let's blame the cops because they're the ones who start, who judge who goes to court. You don't just end up in court. You don't just end up in court. A cop has to bring charges against you. And so the cops are the ones where our justice system starts, because the judge trusts the police that they won't lie. However, the Innocence Project wouldn't exist if our cops didn't lie. We wouldn't have to free innocent people if our cops didn't fabricate the crimes. Or like when I was watching the Menendez show on Netflix, the chief of police was yelling at the police going, "We are under the scrutiny of the media. The whole nation is watching. We have to catch who did this. Who did it?" They're like, somebody has to go down for this. Somebody has to. Because people want an answer. People want an answer. Because when their parents passed away, they still kept the abuse quiet. They called 911. They cried. They were devastated over their parents unaliving. Lyle and Eric did a very good job on that 911 call. It was very frantic, very raw, very, you believe them that they came home and found their parents like that. You believe them.
Awful lies have been disrupted and exposed by countless breaks. Not being in the will for him was like some sort of way that what he did, like it was a punishment onto himself. So then when they told him, "Oh no, you actually are in the will, you're getting everything," I don't think he wanted to believe that. In prison, Eric confessed to his psychiatrist, Dr. Vickery, who we see on the show, about his feelings regarding his inheritance after the killings. And Vickery stated that Eric didn't understand why nobody came forward to punish him. He experienced tremendous guilt. He was tormented about inheriting millions. So around the same time that the brothers...
Well, like I said, the problem is because Eric is so abused, his mentality, he doesn't understand the permanency of what he did, and the fact that because they did the perfect crime and the police couldn't figure out who did it, you're rewarded with the inheritance that you were going to lose had you not unalived your father, because your father was about to disinherit you.
To fabricate his description of sexual abuse at the hands of his father. When I read this, I was so pissed off. You don't even know. You might think, well, they just threw that in. Surely it didn't mean anything. No. Robert Rand, he interviewed the juries after the trials ended, okay? This was a, quote, reoccurring topic in deliberations, okay? Especially with the male jurors. Even though information from the closing arguments is not evidence, okay? One juror wrote in
opening statements, they will tell you in court, opening statements and closing statements are not evidence. You cannot, as a juror, take evidence from an opening or closing statement. Opening and closing statements, they're just descriptions of what the opening statement is. They basically tell you, here's what I'm going to show you during the course of this whole trial. So some opening statements are 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, because they basically bullet point and outline the whole trial. And then the closing statements is to wrap up everything they just showed you, to remind you, especially when a trial's gone on for, like OJ's went on for 6 or 9 months. At the closing statements, they wrap up the whole 9 months and say, this is what we've been looking at for 9 months. This is what it equals. What I've been showing you, it equals this. And so they're not evidence, but they're going to re-go over evidence, but they're not evidence. You cannot take an opening or closing statement as evidence.
journal, quote, "You can't just insinuate Eric is gay. If you think he's gay, you've got to prove it. And then you have to demonstrate a link between being gay and being molested," end quote. There is no link. There is literally no link. For some reason, none of this is included in the series. I feel like this is such a big deal. Instead, Ryan Murphy just speculates that Eric might be gay, and then he elaborates on it just like Kuriyama did in court.
Well, no, she must have missed the shower scene. Hello? Like, the shower scene goes over whether Eric is gay or not. Ryan Murphy does touch down on that. I mean, she must have missed it or something, but because Eric is a very confused person because, first of all, he's never been with a girl. Okay? He's never had a girlfriend, but he's been being abused by his father, who is a man, and he's confused because the unfortunate part that they display this in the show, where Eric has to talk about the essay and what it was like and how it made him feel, and it's tremendous shame when essay can give you pleasure. It's not supposed to, because you don't want it. It's unwanted. The essay is unwanted. However, it's being pushed on you, and your body can't help but react to it in a pleasurable way. And so Eric has only been pleasured by a man at this point in his life. And so, can you imagine how confusing that is? You don't think you're gay. You don't want to be gay. But he's never gone out and got a girlfriend. And Lyle has, but Eric never did. And so you can kind of see it's a little confusing. But it does kind of touch down on it in the show. When he goes to prison, it kind of touches down on it because he's afraid. For the first while he's in prison, he refuses to shower because he doesn't want to shower with other men, and there's men looking at him. He's freaking out about it. They do a whole half an episode on it.
Listen, I do understand why they added these elements of Eric's sexuality. I think specifically it was to comment on like his optimism towards, you know, like his positive experiences with sex versus his negative experiences with sex. However, in a show surrounding, again, a real person and his sexual abuse, I really don't think it was appropriate to theorize about his sexual orientation. There's a scene in the series where Lyle literally says, and it's played for laughs, it's supposed to be funny, he says that Craig and Eric were, quote, gobbling each other's dongs. Yeah, so this, you know, this does feel wrong to me in a story about sexual abuse, okay? The caricature of Lyle. Okay, so we've gone over some exaggerations in Lyle's character that's shown on the series. The cocaine, the partying, screaming at children and workers, his mom and dad and Dr. Oziel, appearing unnaturally calm after the murders, and also his obsession with finding the will and his inheritance. This series portrays Lyle during the trial, before and after his testimony, as being very motivated to perform well in court. He tells his lawyers that he can cry if they need him to. He brags about giving like the greatest testimony in court in history.
Oh yeah, what I was thinking about the Menendez brothers, this is the interesting thing about the Menendez brothers, is like, I'll touch down on this and then go, but Lyle, it's like they're two halves that make a whole. Like I told you about Lyle being codependent on how Lyle is kind of codependent on Eric. And it's like Lyle is the anger, and Eric is the emotions in the dynamic. And I found it kind of interesting because Lyle had Eric go in first, the emotional soft one, because Eric's been known to do all the crying where everybody's like, why isn't Lyle crying? Lyle's a monster because Lyle's not crying. He's a monster. And he's always yeah, he's got the anger, and it's like he's the anger in the dynamic, and Eric is the emotions. And they go in, and Lyle waits until Eric fires first. It's like he's got to get that emotional burst out first, and then Lyle comes in with the anger and finishes it off and does more. According to the show, Lyle does more than Eric after Eric starts it, though. And then, yeah, Eric resembles the guilt. And that's how they get found out because, well, actually, Dr. Oziel was friends with Jose Menendez a year before the unaliving. And at the funeral, he could tell, Dr. Oziel could tell that the boys were the ones who did it. And he purposely went up to them and said, you know, I was friends with your dad. If you ever need me, I'm a psychiatrist. I'm here for you, blah, blah, blah. He pushed the boys into coming and talking to him, and with the purpose of knowing, oh, they're gonna. And then as soon as Eric came in, and I don't think this is fair in a way, because Eric comes in and confesses, and then they call Lyle to get Lyle in there. And while Lyle is heading down there, Dr. Oziel calls his mistress, Judelon Smith, and says, hey, I need you to come listen at the door because Lyle is going to confess to unaliving his parents, and I need you to hear it. And I think none of that, none of the tapes, none of it, even though the tapes were found outside Dr. Oziel's office in a safe deposit box, because Judelon Smith took them to it. I think it's all hearsay and the tapes, and nothing. And it's unfortunate that they got caught, because they got caught that way because Dr. Oziel kicked Judelon Smith out of his house, broke up with her, and completely out of revenge to Dr. Oziel, she goes to the cops and tells them about the Menendez brothers. And that's how they get caught, because Judelon Smith is angry at being dumped by her own psychiatrist. Dr. Oziel totally broke all his rules of being a psychologist. He was dating. Judelon Smith wasn't the only one he was dating. She was just the craziest one. And he used her in case he got alive too by Lyle, because he was scared of Lyle. Dr. Oziel was scared of Lyle. And it should have been all hearsay. The second she came into the police station and said, you know, Dr. Oziel had me listen at the door, and I overheard. No. Whatever you overheard in a psychologist's off. But then again, apparently there's a rule that as soon as Lyle, this is good to know, psychiatrists, if you committed a crime in the past and you tell a psychologist about it, they can't tell the cops. It is under. However, if you tell them about a crime you want to commit to save other people's lives, then they can go to the police to save somebody's life. So once Lyle threatened Dr. Oziel, everything they said in that session was no longer under confidentiality. But Dr. Oziel never told them that. He didn't say, what you're about to tell me is no longer under confidentiality because you threatened me. So that's kind of unfair that Dr. Oziel, as a psychologist, was supposed to warn Lyle and Eric that I can't tell the cops of a crime that's already been committed, but I can, to save somebody's life, tell them of a future crime. If you say, I'm going to go unalive this person, I want to go unalive this person tomorrow or whatever, you say, I just want to go unalive them, I'm going to go do it. And they know that you could go do it because you already done it or something or whatever, blah, 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 blah. A psychologist can tell the cops of future crimes. Not past, but future, yes. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go. But thank you guys for being here. Tell me what you think of the whole Menendez case, because like I said, like I've said it in the past and I'll say it again because I've done a Gypsy Rose and Menendez brothers video before. But the sad part is we don't treat men the same as we do women. And there does need to be some equality when it comes to certain things, especially like abuse and whatnot. And we should care when boys get abused and you know, the only difference between the Menendez brothers and Gypsy Rose is the Menendez brothers did it themselves and they didn't manipulate somebody to do it. But then again, Nick did get manipulated, but why would he do it again? Why isn't Nick? I know he's got autism, but I don't know. It's like I haven't met Nick knew right from wrong. And he knew that Gypsy wronged him. He knows what manipulation is, right? So he shouldn't be sitting there saying, well, I'll do it again just a different way. Because then that shows that you know right from wrong, dude. That shows. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go. Tell me what you think, guys, in the comment section. I love talking to you guys in the comment section. So I'm going to figure out how to watch more of the rest of the Menendez case. Because my husband doesn't want to watch it. It does get bad when Eric goes full on in talking about the abuse to his psychologist and his lawyer. I mean, you got to be prepared for it. He goes full on in. So it is quite the show that you got to be prepared for because they show this murder fully. They don't hide anything. There's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of essay talk. I mean, like I said, it's borderline an HBO show because of how much is displayed on there. So, all right. Love you guys. Thank you again, 13th hour. It's good to see you again. It's good to be back streaming with you and have my co-host. I love my co-host. And maybe we'll get Rachel the Riveter on here who wants to bust into true crime. Right now, if you're LDS, if you're Mormon, you can go to her channel, Rachel.the.Riveter. She does like Book of Mormon study right now. She does religious streams right now. But she does want to break into true crime, and I'm going to help her break into true crime. So I'll figure out when I can get her to break into talking, when we can invite her to, when she has time to come talk about the Gypsy Rose stuff. So, all right, love you guys. Thank you for showing up, W and Chewies. Yes, Chewies. Love you guys. Glad you're doing well, Debbie. Stay safe in those hurricanes. Stay safe down there in Florida. We'll be praying for